The Lakers are back. The Lakers just sent a message to the entire league. They walked into Denver, snapped a 9-game winning streak, held the reigning MVP to just 12 points, and had 4 different players drop at least 20. That's not just a great win, that's domination. A 23-point beatdown against the hottest team in basketball. Luka was absolutely ridiculous. 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He became the first Lakers guard since Magic Johnson to put up those numbers in a game. That's his first 30-point game as a Laker, and he made it look easy. He controlled the pace, got wherever he wanted, and picked Denver apart. Plus 20 in a blowout win, and he wasn't even forcing anything. The guy just plays the game at his own speed, and there's nothing the defense can do about it. LeBron James looked like he was in year 10, not year 21. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks. He was a +9, and he did everything. Scoring, playmaking, protecting the rim, and even locking in on defense. He's still out here playing like an MVP, and when he and Luka are both locked in, they're almost impossible to stop. Austin Reeves was playing with so much confidence. 23 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and a block. He was a +13, and he was setting the table for everyone. The ball movement, the chemistry, the timing, it was all perfect. He's playing like a true floor general, and when he's clicking like this, the offense just flows. And Rui, automatic, 21 points, 4 assists, and a steal, a +14, and he barely needed the ball to be effective. He's making his shots, moving without the ball, and finding open teammates. The more he plays in this system, the better he's getting. Even the role players were making plays. Jordan Goodwin had 5 points, a rebound, 2 steals, and a block. Jackson Hayes had 4 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. They weren't filling up the box score, but they were doing all the little things that don't show up in highlights. Hustling, rotating, contesting shots, and making life miserable for Denver all night. But let's talk about the defense. The Lakers just held Nikola Jokic to 12 points on 7 shot attempts. That's one of the most dominant offensive players in basketball, a guy who can get a triple-double in his sleep, and the Lakers completely neutralized him, and they did it without a true big man. Jokic was a -8, and Denver just couldn't figure out how to adjust. That's not normal. This team's identity is becoming crystal clear. They're not just winning with offense, they're shutting teams down with elite defense. That's going to be the key for them moving forward. If they keep locking in like this, they're going to be a nightmare for any team in the league. And credit to JJ. That might have been the best defensive game plan anyone's thrown at Jokic all year. He completely took him out of his rhythm, forced the Nuggets into tough looks, and outcoached Mike Malone from start to finish. Denver never adjusted, and the Lakers just kept attacking. That's what great coaching looks like. This wasn't just any win, this was a warning shot to the rest of the league. The Nuggets were the hottest team in basketball. They were playing at home, and they just got completely dismantled. The Lakers held them to 100 points, shut down their best player, and got big performances from 4 different guys. If this is the level they're going to play at moving forward, the rest of the league better be ready. But the way I look at this new Laker team, I kind of put them into 5 groups. The first one, the star. Of course, LeBron and Luka. Luka and LeBron on the same team is just unfair. They both dominate the ball, but instead of getting in each other's way, they make life easier for everyone. LeBron's averaging almost 25 points a game while shooting nearly 61% true shooting. Luka's right there too, putting up over 26 points per game on nearly 58% true shooting. They're both elite scorers, but their passing takes this offense to another level. LeBron's assisting on over 43% of his teammates' buckets when he's on the floor. That's insane. He's dropping almost 9 assists per game, leading to over 21 points assisted. Luka's doing the same thing, putting up 7.5 assists per game, which means he's responsible for almost 18 more points just from his passing alone. That's nearly 40 points per game combined just from their assists. And that's not even counting their own scoring. But here's where it gets crazy. Their ball handling numbers are both near perfect. LeBron's at 99%, Luka's at 98%. That means the ball is in elite hands all game long. And they're not just dribbling for no reason. These guys are making plays. They're constantly finding the open man, whether it's in transition, off a pick and roll, or just reading the defense and making the right read. In turnovers, they're low considering how much they handle the ball. LeBron's turning it over just under 4 times a game, which is still better than most players with his usage. Luka's at 3.5, and when you factor in how many times they have the ball in their hands, that's an incredible ratio. They're making way more plays than mistakes, which is exactly why this offense never slows down. And when they're not passing, they're rebound. Luka's grabbing over 8 boards a game, with nearly 7.5 coming on the defensive end. That means he's ending possessions and pushing the break immediately. LeBron's right there too, pulling down nearly 8 rebounds himself, with almost 7 being defensive. That's 2 guys who can start the fast break the second they secure a board. And because of that, this offense never stops moving. Their usage rates are through the roof. LeBron's at over 30%, Luka's at nearly 33%. That means almost every play runs through one of them. And that's why this team's unstoppable. No matter who's on the floor, one of these guys is dictating the pace, finding the best shot, and keeping the pressure on the defense. And without LeBron on the floor, Luka's keeping the offense running just as efficiently. The Lakers don't drop off when LeBron rests because Luka takes over, and vice versa. That's what makes this duo so deadly. One's always on the court, and the offense never takes a break. But here's the real problem for every other team. It's not just their individual talent. It's how they complement each other. Luka's scoring over 1.1 per shot attempt. LeBron's at 1.2. That means they're both getting insanely efficient looks. And because they demand so much attention, their teammates are getting wide open shots all game. And they're not just running up their own numbers. They're setting each other up too. LeBron's getting over 7 buckets a game from inside the arc while knocking down over 2 threes a night. Luka's hitting over 6 two-pointers per game while draining more than 3 from deep. That's an inside-out combo that forces defenses to pick their poison. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I'd genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Lakers. When they get to the line, it's automatic. Luka's drawing over 6 free throws per game. LeBron's getting nearly 5. That means they're keeping the pressure on every possession, either scoring, finding an open teammate, or forcing the defense into foul trouble. And let's talk about efficiency. LeBron's shooting nearly 58% effective field goal. Luka's at over 53. That means their shot selection is elite. They're not wasting possessions. They're not forcing bad shots. They're playing winning basketball. And even when they miss, they're still making an impact. LeBron's grabbing nearly 7 defensive boards per game. Luka's at almost 7.5. That means they're controlling the glass, limiting second chance opportunities for the other team, and getting out in transition. And transition is where they're lethal. The second they grab a rebound, they're pushing. And because they're both elite ball handlers, they don't need to wait for a guard. They can go coast to coast, find an open shooter, or just finish it themselves. And that's why this team's offense feels impossible to stop. Luka and LeBron are both elite scorers, elite passers, elite rebounders, and they never take their foot off the gas. The numbers prove it. They're responsible for nearly half the team's offense every night, either by scoring or assisting. And that's what makes them so dangerous. You can't double either of them because they'll just find the open man. You can't sag off them because they'll knock down the shot. You can't press them because they're too strong with the ball. And the scariest part, they're making each other better. LeBron's playing with one of the smartest passers in the game, and it's letting him preserve his energy for the moments that matter. Luka's playing with one of the greatest offensive players ever, and it's unlocking even more efficiency in his game. And that's why this team's offense isn't slowing down. They're making the game easier for each other, and the numbers show it. Every stat proves it. Every possession confirms it. This duo is as good as it gets, and the league has no answer for it. But following them, the group after them to me is the secondary scorers. In this group, I put Reeves and Rui, and I know they're both way more than scorers, but that's just what I named their group. But Reeves and Rui have been stepping up in a big way, and the numbers back it up. Reeves is putting up over 19 points a game while knocking down shots at nearly 59% true shooting. Rui's right behind him, averaging over 13 points while shooting an even more efficient 61% true shooting. That means both guys are not just scoring, they're scoring at an elite rate. But this is what makes them dangerous. Reeves is creating plays on the ball, averaging over 6 assists per game. That's nearly 15 points a game just from his passing alone. Rui's not a primary playmaker, but he doesn't need to be. He's keeping the ball moving, picking his spots, and staying efficient. He's only turning it over less than 1 time per game. That's elite decision making for someone playing off guys like LeBron and Luka. And when defenses try to stop one, the other makes them pay. Reeves is hitting over 2 threes a night while knocking down nearly 4 two-pointers. Rui's just as deadly, drilling over 1.5 threes a game while converting over 3 shots inside the arc. That's floor spacing, cutting, and shot making at a high level. And they're not just scoring, they're making sure the offense keeps moving. Reeves is assisting on over 25% of his teammates' buckets while he's on the floor. That's what makes him so tough to guard. He can take his own shot or find the open man instantly. Rui's not creating at the same level, but he's playing smart basketball. He's not forcing passes, he's making the right reads, and he's keeping the flow of the offense steady. And let's talk efficiency. Both of them are getting over 1.2 per shot attempt. That means they're not just taking shots, they're making the right ones. Reeves is putting up 14 shots per game while getting to the free throw line nearly 5 times. Rui's taking 10 shots while getting to the line for 2. That means both guys are keeping the pressure on defenders every single trip down the floor. And it's not just scoring, they're bringing value on the other end too. Reeves is grabbing over 3.5 defensive boards per game. That means he's helping secure stops, pushing the pace, and keeping the game flowing. Rui's right there with him, pulling down nearly 4 defensive rebounds a night, and he's adding half a block per game on top of that. And here's where it gets scary. They're not just working on their own, they're playing off each other and the rest of this loaded offense. Luka's getting doubled, kick it to Reeves. LeBron's drawing attention, swing it to Rui. There's no right answer for defenses. And when teams try to trap the ball, these two are moving, cutting, and spacing the floor perfect. And it's not just a shooting thing, they're working in 2-man actions too. Reeves and Rui are putting defenders in impossible situations. Rui's setting screens, popping out for shots, and attacking closeouts. Reeves is using his ball handling and passing to set Rui up in rhythm. Defenders are either getting caught on screens, chasing shooters, or giving up an open jumper. And here's the problem for every defense. These two aren't high usage guys. Reeves is finishing just over 23% of the team's plays while he's on the floor. Rui's at 16%. That means they're getting their numbers while playing within the flow of the offense. They're not forcing anything. They're not taking away from Luka and LeBron. They're just maximizing every possession they touch the ball. And that's what makes them so tough to stop. They don't need a ton of shots to be effective. They're shooting high percentages, keeping turnovers low, and making winning plays. Reeves is finishing possessions with either a bucket, an assist, or free throws. Rui's taking smart shots, moving without the ball, and giving the offense another reliable weapon. And they're not just floating around, waiting for open looks. They're impacting winning in every way possible. Reeves is getting over 1 steal a game. Rui's chipping in nearly 1 as well. That means they're not just scoring, they're getting stops, forcing turnovers, and keeping opponents from getting comfortable. And the craziest part, they're doing all this while playing next to 2 of the best offensive engines in the game, Luka, LeBron, Reeves, and Rui, all on the floor at the same time. There's no way to guard that. You can't double anybody because someone's always open. You can't sag off anyone because every guy on the floor can hit shots. You can't press up too hard because they'll blow by you. And when teams finally decide to collapse inside, that's an automatic 3 for Rui. He's knocking down over 1.5 threes a game at nearly 60% effective field goal. That's a guaranteed bucket. And if defenders overplay the shot, he's driving inside for an easy look. And Reeves is just as deadly. He's got the ball handling, he's got the passing, and he's knocking down shots at nearly 54% effective field goal. That means he's scoring efficiently from all levels while still running the offense. And they're doing this while keeping mistakes low. Reeves is only turning it over 2.5 times per game, despite handling the ball a ton. Rui's keeping it even cleaner, turning it over less than once a game. That means possessions aren't getting wasted. And that's why this offense is unstoppable. The ball moves, guys make the right plays, and defenses have no way to adjust. Reeves is creating for himself and others. Rui's spacing the floor and finishing plays. And together, they're turning this team into a nightmare to guard. And that's why teams can't game plan for this group. Luka, LeBron, Reeves, Rui. It's too much talent, too much skill, and too much offensive firepower to stop. Every number backs it up. Every stat proves it. And defenses still haven't figured out how to deal with it. But after them, my third group is the hustle guys. In this group, I put Vanderbilt and Goodwin. Jard Vanderbilt and Jordan Goodwin are the definition of hustle. They're not flashy, they're not looking to rack up stats, but they do everything that makes this team better. Vanderbilt's net rating is over 10, meaning when he's on the floor, the team is dominated. Goodwin's not far behind, making his impact felt on both ends, especially with his rebound. And speaking of rebounding, these two are monsters on the glass. Vanderbilt's pulling down nearly 6 boards a game, with 4 coming on the defensive end. That means he's ending possessions, securing stops, and making sure the other team doesn't get second chances. Goodwin's just as relentless, grabbing over 5 rebounds per game as a guard. That's not normal. Guards don't rebound like that, and he's doing it efficiently, pulling down nearly 4 defensive boards a night. And they're not just waiting for rebounds to come to them, they're crashing the offensive glass too. Vanderbilt's grabbing nearly 2 offensive rebounds per game, ranking in the top 5% of all players in offensive rebounding percentage. That means he's constantly giving this team extra possessions, keeping plays alive, and putting pressure on opposing bigs. Goodwin's right there with him, snagging nearly 2 offensive boards a game himself. That's what makes them so tough to deal with. If a shot goes up, they're fighting, for every single miss. And it's not just rebounding. Vanderbilt and Goodwin are both making a real impact on the defense. Vanderbilt's mixed team defense ranking is over 80%, meaning he's shutting down matchups and making life miserable for opponents. He's swiping over 1 steal per game while using his length to contest everything. Goodwin's doing the same thing, adding nearly 1 steal a game as well. That means they're disrupting passing lanes, poking the ball loose, and forcing turnover. And they don't stop there. Vanderbilt's defensive rebounding percentage is over 22, which means when a shot goes up, there's a high chance he's coming down with it. Goodwin's also shutting down second chances, posting a defensive rebounding percentage near 18. That means when they're on the floor, teams aren't getting many extra opportunities. And because they rebound so well, they're able to start fast breaks immediately. Vanderbilt's not a high usage guy, but that's what makes him so dangerous. He's taking under 3 shots a game, but when he does, he's getting great looks. Goodwin's the same way, shooting over 63% effective field goal. That means when they take shots, they're only taking smart ones. And here's where it gets crazy. Goodwin is one of the most efficient scorers on the entire roster. He's averaging 7.5 points per game, but he's doing it on 65% true shooting. That means he's making the absolute most out of every possession. He's scoring over 1.3 per shot attempt, which is elite efficiency for someone who doesn't need the ball a ton. And that's why this group works so well with the stars on the team. They don't need touches to make an impact. They're flying around the floor, rebounding, playing elite defense, and finishing the shots they do take. Vanderbilt's usage is only 11%, one of the lowest on the team, but he's still affecting winning at a high level. Goodwin's usage is slightly higher at 13%, but he's still playing in rhythm, not forcing anything, and keeping possessions flowing. And they're not making mistakes either. Vanderbilt's only turning it over 1 time per game, and Goodwin's at less than 1 as well. That means when they get the ball, they're making the right decisions. They're not wasting possessions, they're not taking bad shots, they're just playing winning basketball. And that's what makes them so valuable. They don't need the ball in their hands to dominate a game. They're outworking guys on the boards, locking up on defense, and making sure every single possession counts. Vanderbilt's defensive presence alone makes this team better. The Lakers are winning 70% of the time when he's on the floor. That's a direct impact on winning. And it's not just defense. They're making smart plays on offense too. Vanderbilt's only taking 3 shots per game, but he's still putting up points because he's taking high percentage looks. He's finding openings, cutting at the right time, and finishing around the rim. Goodwin's doing the same thing, shooting at an insanely high percentage and knocking down nearly 3 shots per game on under 6 attempts. That's efficiency at its finest. And here's why this duo makes this team so scary. When Luka, LeBron, Reeves, and Rui are out there handling the offense, Vanderbilt and Goodwin are handling everything else. They're fighting for every loose ball, shutting down fast breaks, contesting shots, and making sure every possession ends in their favor. And that's why teams hate playing against them. There's no break when they're on the floor. You take a shot, Vanderbilt's grabbing the board. You try to reset, Goodwin's pressuring the ball. You think you have an open lane, they're cutting it off. And the craziest part, they don't get credit for half of what they do. They don't have flashy scoring numbers, they don't have highlight plays, but when they're on the floor, this team wins. Every single stat backs it up, every number proves it, and no team has figured out how to match their energy. But following them, the next group is the bigs, and at this point, it's pretty much Jackson Hayes. But Jemison gets situational run too. Jackson Hayes is playing center, and he's doing it efficiently. He's scoring 6 points per game, but the way he's doing it is what makes him so valuable. He's shooting nearly 70% effective field goal and over 71% true shooting. That means when he takes a shot, it's almost always going in. And he's not just standing around waiting for easy looks, he's getting them within the flow of the game. And here's where it gets even better. Hayes is putting up 1 point, 4 points per shot attempt. That's one of the best efficiency marks in the league for a big. He's taking just over 3 shots per game, but he's making the most of every single one. He's getting over 2.5 two-pointers per night, finishing everything at the rim, and keeping the offense rolling. And he's not just a scorer, he's bringing real value on defense too. His defensive rating is 110, which means when he's on the floor, opponents are struggling to score. And it's not just individual defense. He's ranking in the top 84% of all players in mixed team defense. That means he's shutting down drives, protecting the paint, and making sure nothing comes easy inside. And speaking of protecting the paint, Hayes is swatting almost 1 shot per game. He's altering everything around the rim, forcing bad shots, and keeping opponents from getting comfortable in the lane. He's also adding nearly 1 steal per game, which is rare for a center. That means he's active in passing lanes, jumping on loose balls, and keeping possessions alive. And when it comes to rebounding, he's controlling the glass. He's pulling down over 4 boards a game, with nearly 3 coming on the defensive end. That means he's securing stops, closing out possessions, and getting the ball back in the hands of the playmakers. And he's not just cleaning up misses, he's grabbing offensive rebounds too. He's pulling down over 1 per game, ranking in the top 81% in offensive rebounding percentage. That means he's keeping possessions alive, tipping in misses, and making sure this team gets extra chances to score. And his impact isn't just individual. When he's on the floor, this team is better. His net rating is over 4, meaning the Lakers are outscoring opponents when he's in the game. And he's playing smart too. He's not forcing shots, not turning the ball over, and not making mistakes. His usage rate is only 11%, meaning he's staying within his role and maximizing every opportunity he gets. And even though Trey Jemison isn't playing as many minutes, he's bringing that same energy when he's on the floor. He's pulling down nearly 3 rebounds per game despite limited action, with almost 2 coming on the defensive end. And when he gets offensive rebounding opportunities, he's making the most of them. He's grabbing over 1 per game and ranking in the top 94% of all players in offensive rebounding percentage. That means if a shot goes up, he's hunting for the putback. And while Jemison's overall impact numbers are still developing, his on-off rating tells the story. When he's on the floor, the Lakers are getting 3 points better per 100 possessions. That means he's making the right plays, doing the dirty work, and keeping this team in rhythm. And that's why these two work so well together. Hayes is the more active rim protector, contesting shots, finishing plays, and running the floor. Jemison is bringing rebounding, toughness, and hustle in situational minutes. Together, they're making sure this team has size, athleticism, and energy in the front court at all times. And that's what makes this rotation so dangerous. There's no drop-off when Hayes is in the game. He's scoring efficiently, defending the rim, rebounding at a high level, and keeping this team's energy up. And when Jemison gets his minutes, he's bringing that same physicality, fighting for boards, and making sure this team never loses its edge in the paint. And that's why this group of bigs is so important. They're not just there to take up space. They're making an impact in every way possible. Hayes is dominating with efficiency, blocking shots, and rebounding. Jemison is hustling, rebounding at a ridiculous rate, and keeping the team's intensity high. And together, they're making sure this team never gets outworked inside. And that's why teams can't figure out how to attack the paint against this group. Hayes is too active around the rim, contesting everything and making sure no easy shots go up. Jemison is too relentless on the boards, grabbing offensive rebounds and keeping possessions alive. And they're both playing within their roles, making smart plays, and bringing non-stop energy every single night. And the best part, they're not taking anything away from the offense. Hayes is scoring at an elite efficiency, finishing plays, and keeping the ball moving. Jemison is staying within his role, crashing the glass, and making sure this team gets extra opportunity. They're both playing their roles perfect, and that's exactly what makes them so valuable. And that's why this front court is such a key piece to this team's success. The stars are handling the scoring, the wings are creating, and the bigs are making sure every possession counts. Hayes is finishing inside, defending the paint, and rebounding at a high level. Jemison is keeping up the intensity, grabbing boards, and giving this team valuable minutes when needed. And together, they're making sure the Lakers stay dominant inside. And no team has figured out how to stop it. Every number backs it up, every stat proves it, and the impact these guys bring is undeniable. But after that, I don't know what else to really call it. But my fifth group is the rest of the guys. This includes Gabe Vincent, Dalton Knecht, and Dorian Finney-Smith, all really important players. Dorian Finney-Smith, Dalton Knecht, and Gabe Vincent are the glue holding everything together. They're not taking the most shots, they're not dominating the ball, but every single possession they're on the floor, they're making winning plays. Finney-Smith is putting up nearly 9 points per game, but his efficiency is what makes him special. He's knocking down shots at over 61% effective field goal and over 62% true shooting. That means he's not just scoring, he's doing it in the most efficient way possible. Knecht is right there with him, scoring over 9 points per game himself while shooting nearly 59% true shooting. That means every time these guys take a shot, it's a good one. And when you put them alongside Vincent, the spacing gets even better. Vincent isn't taking as many shots, but he's still making an impact. He's playing within the offense, staying efficient, and keeping the ball moving. He's taking just over 5 shots per game, but he's not forcing anything. That means defenses can't sag off him, can't ignore him, and can't leave him open. And here's why these three work so well together. They're all low usage guys. Finney Smith is finishing just 13% of the team's plays when he's on the floor. Connect is at 18%, and Vincent is at 13% as well. That means they're all getting their numbers without needing to dominate possessions. They're fitting into the offense, finding their spots, and playing perfectly alongside the stars on this team. And they're not just standing around waiting for shots, they're making plays too. Finney Smith is assisting on over 1 bucket per game while keeping his turnovers low. Connect is right there with him, making the right reads and staying within the flow of the game. Vincent is handling the ball more, but he's still keeping turnovers low, averaging less than 1 per game while assisting on over 1.5 buckets per night. And here's what makes this group even more dangerous. Finney Smith is one of the best mixed team players in the league. His offensive rating is nearly 120, and his defensive rating is just over 110. That means when he's on the floor, the team is nearly 10 points better per 100 possessions. That's the definition of impact. And Connect is proving that even as a rookie, he's already playing winning basketball. He's taking just over 7 shots per game, but making them count. He's knocking down nearly 2 threes per game while finishing at a high rate inside the arc. That means he's stretching the floor, cutting at the right times, and giving this offense another weapon. And Vincent's doing exactly what this team needs from him. He's playing with a positive net rating, meaning when he's on the floor, this team is still outscoring opponents. And he's not turning the ball over. He's handling the rock, making the right plays, and keeping the offense flowing without making mistakes. And here's where it all comes together. These 3 guys don't need the ball to be effective. They're playing off the stars, knocking down open shots, defending at a high level, and keeping possessions alive. Finney Smith is grabbing nearly 3 defensive rebounds per game, making sure second chances don't happen. Connect is spacing the floor and making sure defenses have to stay honest. Vincent is running the offense in his minutes, keeping mistakes low and making sure this team stays in rhythm. And when you put them all on the floor together, the balance is perfect. Finney Smith is giving them elite team defense, ranking in the top 75% in mixed team defense. Connect is providing scoring efficiency at all 3 levels. Vincent is handling the ball just enough to keep things flowing while still playing within his role. That means every lineup they're in is balanced, disciplined, and effective. And that's why defenses struggle to adjust. If you overcommit to Luka, LeBron, Reeves, or Rui, one of these guys is making you pay. Finney Smith is drilling nearly 2 threes per game at an elite efficiency. Connect is doing the same, while providing an extra scoring punch. Vincent is staying composed, making the right decisions, and keeping everything under control. And they're not just affecting the offense, they're bringing it on the other end too. Finney Smith is swiping nearly 1 steal per game, contesting everything, and making sure nothing comes easy. Vincent is adding his own perimeter defense, using his quickness to pressure the ball. And Connect is holding his own, using his length to stay in front of guys and making sure he's not a weak link on defense. And that's what makes this trio so valuable. They don't need big numbers to make a huge impact. Finney Smith is playing winning basketball, providing high-level efficiency on both ends. Connect is coming in, scoring at a high rate, and keeping the floor spaced. Vincent is running the offense in spurts, keeping mistakes low, and playing with control. And when you put them alongside the rest of this team, it's impossible to stop. Every single guy on this roster knows their role, plays within it, and makes winning plays. The stars are doing the heavy lifting, but these 3 are keeping the foundation strong. And no team has figured out how to take them out of their rhythm. Every stat backs it up, every number proves it, and they're making sure this team is as complete as possible. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.